Good morning, everyone. We are Group 7 and we're going to be discussing the rounds 11 and 12 of the second book of Bodega Dreams. The group consists of me, Cristal, Jennifer, and Alejandra, and I will be discussing the characters on these two final rounds of this book. At first, I choose Chino. Chino in this round was very sad for all the problems he was facing on, but the most that was affecting him was that Blanca was pregnant and she left him. Also, Chino was there when Vera shot her husband. Second, Sapo. Sapo was trying to convince Chino to go to see Vera's husband Vidal so that way he could know something about Blanca. And he was the one who took Chino to the restaurant so he can meet with Vidal. Third, Vera. Vera was trying to contact with her sister, Blanca's mother, so that way she could convince Blanca to get back with Chino. Vera was the one who shot her husband. Bodega. Bodega went with Vera to tell Vidal that she didn't want to continue her relationship with him. And the next day, when Vera shot her husband Vidal, someone killed Bodega. Nazario. Nazario appeared when Bodega called him to help him to clean up all the mess that Vera did when she shot Vidal, her husband. Vidal, that was the husband of Vera, and who told Bodega the truth of Vera's life, and that's why Vera killed him. And the waiter that was the one who took Chino to the small room where Vidal was waiting him.
Plot. Round 11 begins with Chino not wanting to be at his apartment because Blanca had just left him. He is also avoiding places where he could find Sapo and Bodega, but Sapo finds him and takes him to the restaurant where he is supposed to meet Bodega, Vera, and Vera's husband, John Vidal. When he arrives at the restaurant, he only sees John Vidal, and he is nervous and anxious because Vera hasn't arrived and she told him that she would meet him there a couple hours ago. When Vera and Bodega arrive, Vera is sad and looking at the floor, and Bodega starts talking. He said that she will leave Vidal and she never really loved him. Vidal doesn't believe this until Vera starts talking and Chino realizes that it is Bodega talking through Vera. When Vidal hears everything that Vera has to say, he warns Bodega about Vera and her affairs, and he compares her body with an international hotel. When Bodega hears this, he gets really mad and throws Vidal against a wall. But when Bodega lets him go, Vidal starts laughing, and Vera picks up a gun and shoots him and kills him. When this happens, Vera is at the floor really anxious, and Bodega is covering up the body. He makes a call and Chino insinuates that he is calling Nazario. When he hangs up, he goes to Chino and tells him that he was the only one here and that he saw Bodega shoot Vidal. When Chino left the restaurant, with only leaving behind Bodega consoling Vera. And the next morning when Chino wakes up, he hears the news that Bodega is dead. The conflict in round 11 is that Vera's husband Vidal comes to New York to meet her, and Vera and Bodega meet Vera's husband to tell him that she is leaving him. Also, Vera kills her own husband in this round.
Hi guys, I'm Alejandra. I'm from Group 7 and I will be discussing the settings and themes of round 11 and 12. First of all, we are going to start with round 11, which is titled Worth All the Souls in Hell. The first place where the setting of the round develops is in Chino's workplace. Here, Chino is trying to avoid meeting with Sapo so that he doesn't have to meet with Bodega eventually, and he is trying to avoid detectives De Jesus and Ortiz so that they don't interrogate him and ask questions about Bodega. Here he is also trying to get his mind off all the worries he has going on in his life, especially with Blanca leaving him. Here he is he has hope here that Blanca eventually will come back to him, so he's trying to be at peace with it and not think about it as much. And then the second place where the setting develops even more, and I think the main point or the main setting in the round is at Ponce de Leon restaurant. Here, Bodega and Vera meet with John Vidal, which was or is Vera's husband. Here they meet with him to confront him and tell him that Vera never loved him and that she loved Bodega. And here is where Vera eventually shoots John Vidal and he dies. Here I think is the main point or where the climax of the story really happens. For me, it was really surprising because I wasn't expecting what happened to happen, but it did, and it took place in Ponce de Leon restaurant. Now we'll move on to the themes in round 11. First theme we see, or themes, are sadness and nostalgia from Chino's part. Chino is constantly, from the beginning of the round, all the way through the round, remembering Blanca and the things that they used to do. And he remembers him that she was pregnant. And this, well, he was happy about it, remembering those times and how happy they used to be. And he has hope that eventually he and Blanca will be as happy as they were before. We also see a theme of respect from Chino to Bodega. Chino, all throughout the story or the book, showed with actions that he respected Bodega and he admired him in some way. He aspired to be as Bodega, maybe not the things that he did, but the compassion he had for some things and the dreams, how big he used to dream. So he admired that, but he never really expressed it with words. So in this quote that I will read to you, he expresses his admiration and kind of also says goodbye to Bodega without even knowing. So Chino said, and I quote, "Hey Willie, I think you're worth all the souls in hell. That's thousands of more souls than there are in heaven. So you're worth a lot, pana." That's what Chino said to Bodega And actually, I think those were the last words that Chino said to him, because then afterwards Bodega died. So he expressed once again his admiration by using words for the first time. He had never really complimented Bodega in any way, so he expressed that in this round. We also see love and sacrifice from Bodega to Vera. Bodega, we know how much he loved Vera and how deeply he loved her, and he was willing to sacrifice his life and his dreams and all the plans he had for El Barrio in order for Vera to be okay and for her to get to live her life. So we see this love and sacrifice from Bodega's part. There's also a theme of death. We see the death of John Vidal by Vera shooting him. He died. And we also see at the end of the round, we see that Chino says that he found out that Bodega was killed, but he also see at the end of the round, we see that Chino says that he found out that Bodega was killed, but he didn't say what happened or who he was killed by. So it leaves it in kind of a suspense. But we see both of these deaths in the round, so it has a theme of death and suspense throughout the whole round. So I think that with that, we conclude the settings and themes of round 11.
These are the characters on round 12. Chino, that was very upset because Blanca hadn't come yet to the apartment, but also because Bodega was his friend and now he's dead. He was also played by Nazario and Vera because they both used him as an object to achieve their goals, that was to be together. Nazario, that was sitting next to Vera waiting for Chino to come with the cops, and he was the one who told Chino to deny that he was on the restaurant that night when Vera shot her husband, Vidal. And Nazario was the man who Vera was really in love with. Vera didn't talk on this round, but she was sitting next to Nazario waiting to Chino on the police station. And Negra, that went to visit Chino, but only to ask him if someone could help her to hurt Victor again, because he was recovering of the hurt that she did to him in the past. And Blanca, who came back to the apartment to see if Chino was alright, because she knew that Bodega was his friend. And she was the one who told Chino the truth of Vera's love, that was Nazario and not Bodega. The police officers, Ortiz, that was the one who respect Puerto Ricans, De Jesus, that was the one who hates Puerto Ricans, but they both were detectives on the 3 cases of Bodega, Alberto Salazar, and Vidal's death. And at last, Larry, that was the command of the police officers, that he was the one who asked Chino if he was on the restaurant where Vera killed Vidal, and when Chino denied it, all his doubts were answered.
Round 12 plot. Chino is woken up by Ortiz and De Jesus because the bodega was killed and they want to bring Chino down to the station. When Chino arrives to the station, he sees that Nazario and Vera are already there, and Nazario pulls him aside and tells him to say that he did not saw Vidal getting killed. When Chino gets asked if he was at the restaurant the other day, he says no. Bodega is actually being held responsible for the deaths of Salazar and Vidal, which is why Nazario told Chino beforehand to say that he didn't saw Vidal getting killed. When Nazario, Vega, and Chino exit the police station, Nazario tells Chino that Bodega was killed when he was on his way to turn himself in for Vera by fishermen. And when Chino is at his apartment, Negra enters by the fire escape and tells him that she wants him to hurt her husband Victor. But there then the doorbell rings and it's Blanca to see how Chino was doing because she heard the news that his friend Bodega, was killed. But Negra tells her to say what she actually came to say, which is that she heard that Vera, was actually in love with somebody in a barrio when she was young, but it wasn't Bodega. It is actually Nazario that she was in love with. And Blanca tells Chino that he has been played with. The conflict in round 12 is that Bodega is killed and is held responsible for the killings of Salazar and Vidal because it is better to sacrifice a dead person than someone who is still alive. We also discovered that Vera never really loved Bodega, but instead loved Nazario.
Okay, guys, so now we are going to continue discussing the setting in round 12. The first environment that we see going on are the streets in El Barrio described to us by Chino. They were described as lonely streets, only filled with police cars, policemen, reporters, and cameramen that were obviously being part of a situation that he didn't know what was really going on, so it created kind of like a suspense in the story at the beginning. And then we see Chino's house, where Detective De Jesus and Ortiz go to tell him what actually happened to Bodega. Here is where Chino finds out that Bodega was killed the night before. Then he is sent to the precinct where he is interrogated by Captain Leary. It wasn't really much of an interrogation per se because Captain Leary just asked him one question to get it over with because he didn't want to fill paperwork or go through any type of job, but he interrogated him. And then the last place where the story develops is in Chino's house, and here is where Blanca tells him that the truth about Vera and that she was never really in love with Bodega, that her true love was Nazario. Now we are going to move on with the themes of the round 12. The first theme, as I said before, is a suspense in the streets of El Barrio. A suspense because Chino saw these people going up and down the streets, the policemen, the reporters, and the cameramen. and he really didn't know what was going on, but he knew that something was up. So it created a suspense in the beginning of the story. We also have mystery in the beginning, and as well as the beginning, we have it throughout the round in Nazario's behavior, in his answers towards the questions that Chino was asking him. He really didn't give trustworthy answers. He just made stuff up, or Chino knew that he was making stuff up, as he always did, because he never really told him the truth about anything that happened with Bodega and him. And for the last theme, we also see betrayal from Nazario and Vera's part. From Nazario, because he was always working for Bodega, and he was always doing the things that Bodega told him to do, and at the end he betrayed him, or from the beginning, but we found out at the end. And from Vera, because she was supposedly in love with him, but she was really just using him, and she was always in love with Nazario. These two needed to get rid of Bodega because he was never going to be okay with the fact that they wanted to be together. So they had to get rid of him in a way, so that they could be happy together and in love, because he was always going to follow them and he would never be okay with it. These are the three themes that we see in the story, and here we are done with the settings and themes for round 12.